Hello everybody, we're back with Arcane Assist. It is myself, Evan, and today I've got Craig on. He's bringing back his Legion with a cool little Abby1 list. I myself am playing some Locke. We're getting out of the Menoth Scorn loop today. We've done a lot of them just because it's the factions that myself and Tim have been pretty excited about lately, and I realized that could get a little bit repetitive and boring for some people. So here we are. We've got something completely different. Craig, why don't you talk about your list a little bit?
All right, thanks for having me on, Evan. So today I'm bringing Absylonia, Terror of Everblight, or Abby1, in Children of the Dragon. My battle group is going to be Azrael, Zuriel, and Proteus, with my list being Craelix, a Bog Trog Mistpeaker, Annyssa Ryvaal, a minimum unit of Hex Hunters with Bale, maximum unit of Raptors, a unit of Ice Witches, and a Swamp Gobbler Bellows crew. Concept of the list is essentially you're trading very heavily on the fact that you have 3 high-quality character beasts, and Abby has powerful upkeeps to affect them with.
Yes. Cool. So, in my list, it's the one you have probably seen on the channel already before, if you have watched us for a while now. It's Locke in Destruction Initiative. We got an Axiom. We've got 2 Inverters. We've got a Corollary, 2 Galvanizers, and a Monitor for some True Sight and triggering Warpath. Also a great sentry target. Servitor-wise, you've got 2 Reflex Servitors, 2 Elimination Servers, and a Attunement Servitor, as well as Optifex Directive. That's 5 free, air quotes, solos, as much as there are bunches of 3. So really it's 15 free solos. But hey, who's counting? Anyways, that's it for the lists. Let's hop right on into the game. So, today we've got our scenario as standoff. Some different looking terrain here. We got a obstruction and a wall on the right-hand side, some forests down the center, as well as an obstruction on the bottom, and then 2 walls to the left. Fairly open in the middle between those forests. Not a whole lot, but a lot of obstructions that are going to kind of impede movement along the outskirts, as well as the walls impeding movement in the middle. What's your deployment looking like, Craig?
I basically put my battle group centrally. I put the Raptors far to flank. Essentially, their job is to pick off as many servitors as they can, and then eventually charge in on a heavy. And then Anyssa's on the far right-hand flank in order to threaten whatever is exposed on that end.
Cool, cool. My deployment is mostly about keeping the circuit with focus running for induction, making sure that I can do the full loop and get back to the corollary so that I get my focus battery, basically so that I can activate the corollary first, run with it, and then loop back to it once the full circuit, as it were, is completed. Mechanics are going to go in the back. Servitors are going to go on either side of the table and stick around Locke where shield guards are likely to be needed. Also protecting some heavies from those shots from pieces like Azrael.
Yeah. The fact that Azrael has potentially a POW 19 gun is fairly strong.
I'd rather it hit the 3rd of a free solo.
Yeah. That's a reasonable expectation. So I AD my Hex Hunters basically in the center. Take up space. They're also a good volume of attacks for, again, dealing with Servitors.
Yeah, you also have the first turns here, so...
Yep. So first turn...
Just going to go right on into it.
Yep, first turn was going to move everything up as much as possible, basically, without just giving stuff away. I'm going to put up my Playing God upkeep onto... Zuriel, and Zuriel, and then Refuge on Azrael, and everything else is just going to move up its normal movement. Basically, the fact that Azrael can now run 14 inches because he's now speed 7 also allows him to threaten further forward next turn. Also, Abby's going to poke for 3 in order to get all 3 of her warps available to Zuriel next turn. Is the idea there. So it's going to move forward. I know she has really crazy threat ranges. Like here, I'm going to measure the range of the Axiom's run and jackhammer threat. and I just basically want to keep my caster out of that.
Yeah, let's talk about playing God a little bit. It's a bit of a funky spell because it's till Abby's next activation that it lasts. So you throw up the upkeep, you take some damage to give them Abby's own mutation or warp effects, and then that War Beast with playing God also gets those effects, and you can transfer it for free once, right?
Yeah, you get a free upkeep, free transfer out of that too.
Mm-hmm. So Zuriel's going to get the benefits of +1 speed, +2 strength.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Ashen Veil. That one's less effective here, but it's good against guns.
Mm-hmm. So some pretty great bonuses that Abby can hand out, and she can rotate that over to another beast if she needs to next turn.
Yeah, she'll poke for 3 again, but that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Hex Hunter's moving pretty aggressively here.
Yeah.
So what's the goal of this turn?
The goal of this turn is to essentially threaten anything that comes into any zone on the next turn. So with Zuriel that far forward, essentially he can get to most things that he cares about. Azrael effectively the same. Anyssa's job is to threaten anybody who comes forward. Annyssa had also prayed Locke, so Locke now has to play extremely cautiously because Annyssa can and will just shoot her.
Yep.
And then all my support's just moving up behind. Not really a whole ton is going on here.
So my turn is more or less just about putting up my upkeeps and making sure that I don't screw up the focus efficiency in order to make sure everything can run properly. A Reflex Servitor was in charge range of a Hex Hunter, so I take it. He misses, but the blast damage still catches and kills the Hex Hunter, so worth it. So yeah, positioning with shield guards is important this turn. So is just where I'm going to be putting my Reflex Servitors, making sure that if Hex Hunters want to come up, they might get countercharged, making sure that I'm blocking particular lanes for pieces like Azrael and Zuriel, stuff like that.
And 5 of them are going to be hanging out in a bubble around Locke pretty much the entire game?
Correct. Yeah, there's just going to be a big bubble around Locke, basically so that she can never be shot by raptors. Or at the very least, she can never be shot by raptors for one turn. Elimination Servitors, going to move on up. They're basically just going to prey on some Hex Hunters for most of the game, trying to proc some Warpath moves when they can. Locke is one of my favorite Convergence casters. She's got a fairly straightforward toolkit that can be used in a lot more ways than I think people can really think about it first. She's got Road to War, or something I'm going to call Warpath for most of this game, because I played Jalam not 3 weeks ago on the channel, and a lot in person. So she's got Road to War, Red Line, and Sentry. Red Line's going to go up on the Axiom, make it able to run and be jackhammered a bunch. Just a crazy big threat on the table. I know a lot of people like to run 3 inverters or 4 inverters or just a lot of heavies instead of the Axiom. I think I've tried that version of the list, and I prefer the Axiom's threat over that. And the ability to stay safe while jackhammering and basically being 11 inches away is super helpful. So he's going to run up, basically stay out of threat range of both Zuriel and Azrael. And the inverters are going to go where they need to be for threatening the heavies. So you'll see later on this turn, I do a bit of a redeploy of one of the inverters, pull it over to the top hand side of the table so that it's closer to where Zuriel and Azrael are, because they're both going to come in. I feel like the monitor is not going to be able to handle them in melee. So I'd like that little extra oomph from an inverter. This inverter is just going to go on up, stay fairly protected behind the forest, more or less out of range of some raptors, make sure that it can't get charged by Proteus right off the bat. And then here's that redeploy I was talking about earlier. All of this keeps the circuit going, and the focus eventually makes its way back to the Corollary in terms of the running. Sentry is a pretty good spell as well in this list. It can go on either the monitor or the Axiom. Typically, I started off on the monitor just to pump out some range 13, POW 13 gunshots. with True Sight, it really helps. This thing is like a Gremlin Swarm Hunter if you happen to be against a Grimkin player, because you throw up magic weapons from the mechanic unit, and then it's just like True Sight, shoot a Gremlin Swarm, it dies. And that's my turn.
Yeah.
Fairly aggressively moving, but trying to just stay outside of threats.
Yeah, so on my turn, I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, okay, Zuriel can get in there. Evan did not feat last turn, which means I can probably do a little of extra work than I was expecting to. It's going to be dice off 1. I have effectively 6 attacks, so that should hopefully be enough damage to put it down. It's not quite 6 attacks, but because I do have to charge, so that's going to cost me some.
Yeah. I maybe underestimated just how much threat Abby puts out, because I tried to stay only in melee range, or, well, charge range of Zuriel with the 1 monitor, and Craig's going to get a little bit creative with Proteus's pull here.
Yeah, so I figure if I can get that inverter a little bit further forward, then I can probably get some charges from my Weapon Master Raptors over there. Their poison guns aren't super effective here, but they are just Weapon Masters.
Yeah, they're just cavalry Weapon Masters, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, Raptors are solid. They're basically in every children list I make, just by the sheer virtue of how versatile they are. So yeah, basically I'm just sort of doing the math in my head of what I need to do and how to get it done. There's a few of these servers need to go down in order for this plan to happen. I don't want to take a POW 14 free strike, for instance, although that's not boosted, right?
It is not, because it's no longer a melee attack after it hits. It becomes just a blast damage hit.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. So it wouldn't work with my unyielding, which I get from my Theme Force benefit.
Correct. But again, it's also not boosted, so it's give and take a little. It's dice off 4 for you, because you go to your arm 18 base with Proteus there.
Yeah, 17s, 18s across the board.
Yeah. So not bad. Not bad.
But I figure I can just probably kill it with any number of my Hex Hunters that are here, because Hex Hunter's a battle wizard.
Yeah, I had not considered that at all when going against them. I was like, all right, they can spell or they can hit. Nope, they can do both. So they're gonna come up and just try to kill as many of these servitors as possible. And as soon as you do this, I'm thinking to myself, man, I should have feated. Because as soon as if these hunters want to do their battle wizard, then I just get catalytic tokens. And the thing about Locke's feat is that I do a little bit of a weird counter charge at this point, because I hadn't realized the battle wizard until you start like kill the first one. I do a charge at what's his name? Belial?
Baal, yeah.
Baal. And fail the charge by hitting my own guy in melee, and I'm like, great. So if you want to hex bolt this one and clear the lane, you have to go into melee, and then you're like, battle wizard? I'm like, oh, this was just a terrible idea all along. Never mind. Cool. I was just trying to get all fancy dancy, but you just have an answer. And then also, even though you miss with your battle wizard spray or battle wizard, Baal just goes and is like, spray. You're not going into melee.
He just happens to have frostbite as well.
Yep.
With about 100 targets back there, so I don't have to clip my own Hex Hunter.
Yep. So the thought was there, and I feel like that's what counts.
Yeah. So they did manage to sort of not punch up above their weight, but definitely pull their weight.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're looking at bringing in Zuriel, just figuring out where he wants to go. I'm going to charge on an angle that will actually get me Locke on the assault spray.
Yeah, Locke, who, because she put out all her upkeeps, is camping nothing.
So we'll see what happens here. So
digging through some cards, trying to find some stats. You're debating on whether or not you want to combo strike. You choose not to?
Yeah.
It's only dice off 1.
Yeah. Also, I do hit Locke with an unboosted spray, and then I boost damage on her and set her on fire.
You also do a couple points of damage.
Yeah. So can now be a little bit more afraid of me.
Yeah, she's a fairly durable warcaster at 14-17. But when I'm not camping anything, and she gets far more durable when she has tokens on her from her feet, But yeah, unfortunately, you dub 1's your second initial,
Yeah.
which means you're losing out on a good chunk of damage here, and the monitor lives with 5 boxes.
Yeah, which isn't ideal. But I have a backup plan here, and that's Azrael can shoot you with his POW 17 gun. Just need to hit you once, and you probably go down.
Yeah. So walk us through that. Or walk us through the rest of the plan, I guess, because you're measuring some other stuff here.
So right now I'm just looking into how to get rid of the shield guard that's hanging out near the near that monitor, because I want to shoot it. So Anyssa's going to walk up, just put a couple shots into the servitors there. I have gunfighters, I have to kill the one next to me, and then her second shot is going to go into the other servitor and kill it. And so yeah, I figure I only need 8s to hit because you're only def 14, and I'm a rat 6, so I just need a boost, boosted 8, and yeah, it's gonna wait till we catch up here. But yeah, basically, walks up, is going to boost a shot onto Zuriel, or onto the monitor. Need an 8 here. I roll an 8, but no crit. I'm at an angle where if I crit him, I get to knock him over Locke, but I opt to Puppet Master that roll.
Yeah, so you don't crit, but you hit. But you choose, you decide you want the crit, so you re-roll it and miss.
Yeah.
Which means you have to roll the boosted attack against Zuriel, which hits.
Yep.
And you do 11 damage to Zuriel, and then you reload, shoot your second attack, miss the monitor again, hit Zuriel again, and crack him for 6 this time.
So he's taking 17 damage from my own model.
Thankfully, you have a reset button.
Yeah. It's not great, but the fact is it's probably going to be the turn that I do it anyway. Mm-hmm. Abyssonia's feat has changed, so now it heals all her beasts in her entire battle group fully, and then gives them rapid healing.
Yeah, it's a lot less corner case than it was. Instead of it just determining how your opponent has to play and that they have to just fully kill beasts, now they have to both fully kill beasts, and then also you get some attrition work on the turn afterwards. Still kind of hates grievous wounds, unless you're a colossal, but it's a lot better in terms of what it can do the turn afterwards, in that it does anything.
Yeah. One of the things I'm moving over, I'm thinking of putting up Wild Aggression on Proteus, so we can trample into that forest there for free, and then buy a tentacle attack on that Inverter, which will pull him over to him. So that's sort of the next stage of the plan. I need to get rid of that Hex Hunter because he's kind of in the way, but we have a Roth 3 longbow behind there in the form of Craelix.
Man, Craelix is a monster. If you've never played against or with this solo, he is just crazy good. Like,
yeah, when he's good, he's amazing. He's a blessed Rate of Fire 3 longbow with poison as one of his shot types. So anyway, Proteus going in here. Wild Aggression gives me a boosted attack roll, so like I definitely don't miss this Def
10
heavy.
It gets pulled in, and you do a chunk of damage.
Yeah, I do okay damage-wise.
They have 32 boxes.
Yeah, I'm going to dice off 3 for my good weapons, so it's not going to do a billion damage here, but it's going to at least leave a mark and grievously wound him, which actually matters for that repair man behind him.
Yes, because there is a mechanic directly behind him.
So Brody's just doing a bunch of damage here.
Yeah, not going to kill because he had to trample to get there, but you have some friends coming in.
So at least I'm in a position now where you can be charged by all of those raptors, if need be.
Yes.
At least range. There will be a...
So yeah, it's a little awkward positioning trying to get at that angle, like multiple charges in. You're going to get 2, for sure.
Yeah.
Getting a third one is a little bit more awkward. Some gobbers move up in front of Abby, give her a cloud, and then we do the Raptors charge. Yes, I believe is the next thing.
Now I'm waving around a 12-inch stick.
So yeah, you charge in some Raptors.
Yeah, don't do a great.
So there's this awful thing where the Inverter has this huge flail in front of it, and Proteus has all these tentacles sticking out of his face, and then we're trying to get 2 more large bases in. I countercharge with a Reflex Servitor. It misses and does no damage. And yeah, you can't quite get this last guy in because you'd have to go through a raptor or around a raptor. And yeah, we're there. So the 2 raptors charging. It's dice off 9, so you should do 5.5 damage with each. I have 11 boxes left at this point, so you should kill me exactly, I believe.
Yeah. Instead, one of them does nothing, and one of them does 5.
Yeah.
So he's on some boxes.
Yeah. Sorry. After that charge, I'm on 11 boxes. Sorry.
Right.
So still not great.
Would have at least crippled him and potentially ruined a system or 2.
Yeah, if the last one had hit or done any damage. A little below average.
Yeah.
To say the least. So I think with that, it's my turn. I'm looking at the beasts in front of me. They're fully healed now. I have the only form of grievous wounds in my list is a critical hit from the Galvanizers. So it's like the least punchy jacks I have in my list that need to crit. So I'm going to go with them first and boost a bunch in order to try to get the crit, but the only one I'm really in range of is on Zuriel, because you can't quite see it. But behind the Inverter engaged with Proteus, there is a Hex Hunter, so the Galvanizer cannot get to Proteus unless I kill that Hex Hunter first, which is a little bit difficult when the Inverter is engaging it.
Yeah. The good thing about this list is it's surprisingly difficult to punch through because all my beasts have unyielding.
Yes. Yeah, Proteus gets it from the bond, and the other 2 get it from the theme benefit.
Well, Proteus just has it natively. The bond is grievous wounds.
Oh, that's even better. Never mind. Jeez. So first, the boosted hit attack does not grievous wounds Zuriel, and then does 0 damage. The second attack does grievous wounds, and does I think 2.
2 or 3. It's a lot more damage than the other attack did.
Yeah. I started my turn. The reason that the 4 hit Zuriel there. I started my turn by activating Locke, throwing up Engine of Destruction, and repairing the monitor in front of me because the monitor was not grievous wounded. And Locke has star action repair D3 plus 3, which I very rarely use, but I happened to be there, and it all worked out. So we do that.
How'd that fire go on Locke?
Not good. Locke is not healthy. She only has 9 boxes left. We're only starting our second turn. Axiom gets fully loaded and starts just Excella spiking a thing in front of Azrael so that he can get the tow cable in. Tow cable's in Azrael, does 1 point. Azrael immediately heals it from rapid healing, but still counts as a point of damage done, so it gets dragged. So then I just start punching. Hit with dub 6s. It's dice plus 3. I realize that I'm rolling a location. I don't have to because I have Precision Strike, but also it doesn't matter because anything I damage is just going to get healed anyway because you have rapid healing. So unless I kill you fully, then nothing is crippled.
Yeah.
It's a bad time.
My entire list is Typhons right now.
It's horrifying when you put it like that. Just horrifying. Miss the extra tow cable. I also debate buying some guns or some melee attacks into Zuriel just so that I can kill him, get a warpath move, and then use the fully loaded monitor to go into Azrael and maybe take him out, get some extra work out of it, because that Inverter in the back is not going to be able to get to Azrael, but it can get to Zuriel. So after a bunch of attacks, we leave Zuriel on 4 boxes.
Landing that Grievous was pretty critical.
Landing the Grievous was very important. All right, so that's the Axiom done. Dragged in Azrael, put him in a spot he doesn't want to be, and did a bunch of damage to Zuriel. And now I'm measuring the getting into Zuriel. I need to give Pathfinder to this Inverter so that it can go over the wall. So I do that with the mechanics. The mechanics also just back up a bit. because they don't really have much else to do. Can't really get in range to do the other things on other jacks. The Corollary attacks and then buys 3 attacks into the objective to induce the different focus different ways. Basically, I give 1 to the Inverter back there that just needs to hit Zuriel once and do 4 damage. And then I induce the other 2 into my Inverter that's engaged with Proteus. It's a great way of I feel like often the star action to get rid of multiple focus from the Corollary is just a trap, and you should just buy attacks on your own models that you can't possibly damage, because that way you can spread it out at a further range and also to multiple targets. Pro tip, Convergence players. This is a trap. Don't use that ability unless you really need to, because you have no models around you to attack. Or like the Corollary has to attack something that it could actually damage, but that's not a model that typically exists. Corollary just boops into the objective a whole bunch. The Inverter goes, kills Zuriel. Warpath, or Road to War, the Monitor forward. So now it's in walk and punch distance of Azrael. We're going to have a problem with that, as Azrael's wings are stupid big. Elimination Servitor charges that Hex Hunter engaged with the Inverter. Misses, so I don't get to Warpath the other Galvanizer forward, so we're not going to even get an attempt at Grievous Wounds on Proteus. So we decided to try something a little bit different with the Inverter. We're just going to knock Proteus down so that he has to spend to stand up. We did feat this turn with Locke, so when he forces to stand up, I will get a token on something, and then buy attacks into Raptors and just try to clear out some of them. But before we get to that, it's Monitor Squishy Hand time. We get up into Azrael. We have to turn around because the wings on Azrael are pretty but huge. Also rolling red line damage on the Axiom because I forgot to earlier. Squish Hand hits. I boost damage because it's dice off 3.
Yeah.
So I just do as much damage as I can. Not going to kill him by any stretch with the Monitor here. But we do what we can. Make sure he's weak for next turn. And that way either the Axiom or the Monitor can kill him. More likely than not, the Axiom, as if Craig's Azrael wants to, he can just kill the Monitor. Galvanizer from before stabs the Hex Hunter, clears out the zone. Warpath my Inverter up, block line of sight to Locke from the one direction. Move up Servitors in a various different ways. This one just moves up and tries to shoot a thing. Putting 1 point of damage into Raptors is not particularly great, but we do what we can. I'm asking how many boxes Proteus has left. Remembering to put a feat token down also. Basically, I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want this Inverter to try to kill Proteus, and the answer is no. I macro pummel him, I put him on the ground, and then I just start buying attacks into Raptors. That's what they're called.
Yeah. You actually managed to miss an attack on them, which is surprising.
I miss an attack even though I'm Mat 9, and then I also didn't kill one with an attack because I didn't do enough damage.
So 14-15 is a good stat line.
Turns out. So yeah, that's my turn. We both score a point because I couldn't get to contest your zone, and my zone is cleared, and neither of us are scoring the side zones.
So threshold, Proteus passes, and Azrael frenzies into the Axiom and does no damage, or no meaningful damage. So this turn I'm thinking I have a pretty okay chance to I can definitely get onto Locke. If I move over playing God, I can make it so that Proteus can fly and can definitely get into range of her. She's only camping 1, and she doesn't have a ton of health left.
Yeah, she's camping 1. She has 9 boxes left, but I do have my feet up. And my feet's going to be represented by the blue beads I'm putting out. But she's very durable when she gets a token or 2 from her feet. Because she starts out at 14-17, which is an okay stat line. And then she goes to 15-18, which is equivalent to the best base stat line in the game. And then from there, she just gets better.
Yeah. So when she goes up to a maximum def 17, I believe.
Def 17, armor 20 is the maximum she can be with catalytic tokens.
Yeah, plus a focus. It's not great. But I figure the fact that she's missing 10 health is...
Only 9 boxes left, which is a little scary when there's some big squiggly Legion beasts just in front of you.
Because even though your stats are out of control, Proteus will also be pretty...
Yeah, I mean, free boosted attacks from Wild Aggression. Or no, he won't have Wild Aggression because he'll have Playing God. Yeah. He gets to boost his attacks, but he gets Flight and extra strength.
Yeah. And Ashen Veil, but that won't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to clear out the monitor with some Weapon Master charges. This time they do their job.
Yeah, this time one of them, the only one of them gets to attack, and he just cleaves 11 damage into the Inverter and kills it. It's like, oh, well, all right then. Rest of them just shimmy about.
Could have cleared that. Thought of clearing that zone there, but I figured this is sort of the play now.
I mean, yeah, 3 of them charged the Inverter, and the other one would have had to go on a weird, awkward angle to kill the other Eliminator.
Yeah.
And even if they did, there'd still be 1 Servitor in the zone.
Yeah. So it wasn't worth it based on what I have available to me and what I think the plan is right now. So we're going to look at what I can do here with distances. So Bale's going to walk up and clear out a couple of the Servitors.
Yeah, he's using Frostbite, which is a spell, so I get a token. So I've gotten a token from the other one, Proteus, standing up, and a token from this spell. So I'm now at 16-19 on Locke.
And it's going to go up to 17 when I charge.
No, because it's going to go up to 17 once you cast Playing God.
Yeah.
Because you can't get out of my control area thanks to Arcane Repeater on the Corollary.
Yeah. So here I spend some time sort of moving some support forward, just dropping a cloud in a way that'll make it obnoxious for the Axiom to get involved here. The Monitor, not so much, because the Monitor has True Sight. So didn't really think about protecting it from that. But Puppet Master's up on a lot of the things that matter for Puppet Master. And yeah, Abby's going to move over. Here's where I'm looking at the board saying, like, is there any possible way I can get Playing God onto Proteus without triggering Locke's feet? And then you correctly point out that even if he did, then charging anyway would cause me to...
cause you to put out a token.
Yeah.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, because without Wild Aggression, you don't get free charges. So you're giving me a token either way. So...
to spend a bunch of time just fussing over the board state before I decide that there's actually no meaningful way to do this that prevents that. So...
Yeah. So let's see. Let's see what happens.
So I think all the setup is now done, other than casting the spell. We're just sort of... we're just seeing where we can position the Proteus without having it... where he can get more attacks on the Locke instead of just his initial. And, yeah. Then we move Abby over, cast a spell, and heals Proteus for 4. Because he took some damage to his spirit last turn.
And you're going to have to take a free strike from this Galvanizer.
Yeah. So we're going to heal before he has a chance to crit me.
I mean, I also get... Yeah. The big thing here is I get Precision Strike on this free strike. I do crit. But it's dice off 8 because of your unyielding. I'd need to roll something huge here in order to cripple your spirit. I get very close. You have, what, 2 boxes left in spirit after this?
Yeah.
So I would have had to have rolled. So on that, I rolled a...
16. You need a 16.
Yeah, I rolled a 14, so I'd need a 16. Yeah.
So I make my attack.
Go Gadget Galvanizer.
Boost to hit, because I need 10s here now because of the catalytic tokens. I do hit my...
Hit the charge attack, which is the important one.
Yeah.
Leave me on 4 boxes. And then you miss the other 2 attacks, thankfully.
Yeah, including a Puppet Master roll there.
Yep, including a Puppet Master roll. Yeah.
But she's still on fire, which...
She's still on fire. Although in order for the fire to kill me, it has to not go out, which it doesn't. And then you have to roll boxcars, which you don't.
Although close.
Yeah, although still closer than I'd like it to be. So I'm like, okay, well, now that Proteus is in my face, I have to figure out how to both kill him, and then I have to kill Abby because raptors are just going to shoot Locke to death if I don't. Because I don't have that many shield guards. I just don't.
Yeah, like it would basically be the raptors shoot the servitors, and then Anissa walks up and pops Locke a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. So here's the plan. I need to kill Azrael, cast Redline on my sentry, and put up Engine of Destruction, and also have enough focus get to the sentry either through the monitor, either through allocation or induction, in order for it to get to Abby after a warpath at Mat 9, POW strength 19. I also need to kill Proteus first, and then Azrael, so that she has no transfer targets. So we got some work to do this turn. So, step 1. We allocate 2 to the Inverter and 1 to the Axiom. We keep 4 on ourselves. And then we also cast... So we activate the Inverter. Inverter goes up. Smacks Proteus to the ground, so we have some extra movement with Locke. We do some damage. We transfer these to the Axiom for the most part. And I think also give 1 to a Galvanizer. And that way, the Galvanizer can then go in on the not yet dead Proteus. After we activate the Axiom, put some damage into Azrael, and then allocate those also to the Galvanizer after we filled up the monitor. So, steps 1 and 2, 1 being kill Azrael, 2 being fill up the monitor workout. So we both get the warpath move, kill Azrael, and get 3 focus onto the monitor. Now we need to kill Proteus and get Redline onto the monitor. How are we doing this? So, I asked what the defensive gobbers are, because I want to know whether or not it's worth me trying to kill them, or if I should just lose 1 attack from the monitor, because if I put Redline on it, it gets trample for free, and it only has 1 initial, so I'd only be losing 1 attack, which is fine if I get there. And yeah, especially if I get there with Abby not having any transfers, because she's currently camping nothing. She just gets the free 1 from playing God. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. We've got 2 Galvanizers and Locke. Locke is actually not terrible at going into the knocked down Proteus. She's dice off 4 after Engine of Destruction. Oh, yeah, we just had a leftover attack from the Axiom. So we get a Warpath move from it. We Warpath the Corollary out of the way. I also, activate Engine of Destruction. I don't charge because I need the facing so that I can actually throw up Redline. I forget to do the damage on the Axiom again, so I just do it now. That being the Redline damage. throw up Redline onto the monitor, and then Engine of Destruction, and just get 2 initials into Proteus. Dice -4. Yeah, you're on 20. Dice off 4. Do a couple points. But that's more than enough for this Galvanizer, who now has a focus, to charge. Oh, wait. He's not facing the right way. We have to trigger Warpath once. Well, that Raptor we left on 1 box is in melee with an Elimination Servitor. Thanks for rolling a 10, buddy. You did it. Warpath move. Now we charge Proteus. There's a charge attack kills Proteus. Sweet. Don't even have to activate the second Galvanizer. Second Galvanizer is just going to Warpath into this forest somewhere. He can't get to the Gobbers, and even if he did, he'd be blocking the charge lane of the monitor even more than they are. So we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to sit around, debate what to do, and I think we just go for it. Yeah, screw it. Trample with the monitor. Da-da-da-da-da. So trample for free thanks to Redline. Kill one of the 2 Gobbers. Not particularly relevant. And we start buying attacks into Abby. Abby is def 15.
Yeah.
So we need a 6 to hit.
And it's dice +4.
And his dice +4. So we hit on the first attack, thankfully, because we're mat 9. The Spring Spike Fist, or just the squishy hand, as I like to call it, grabs Abby, does not let go, and just goes squish until there's a popping noise. Yeah. And Abby dies.
Yeah, so that was a good game. I probably overestimated my assassination there, but the catalytic tokens are...
The catalytic tokens just sneak up on you on how much they swing the math. Because you went from needing 7s to hit to needing 10s to hit, which is pretty brutal when you start out with, what, you needed a threshold test and you needed to stand up, so you already had 2 Fury on you to begin with.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal.
We talked a little bit about this afterwards, and that you think this game would have gone a little bit differently had Annyssa been turned into 2 Forsaken... No,
2 Shepherds.
2 Shepherds, rather. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the Blighted Nyss Sorceress. Because you get
free charges, because Proteus will be flying as a result of aerial coordination on the Sorceress, and also Proteus will have been on 0 Fury, or 1 Fury instead of 2.
Yep. Also, Zuriel earlier in the game gets a free charge, so he gets 1 extra attack into the monitor, which probably shores up the missed double 1s attack.
Yeah, Puppet Master would have been useful for that as well.
Puppet Master, the Fury management from the Shepherds. Yeah, there's a lot of good in that change, especially because Poison's not doing a whole lot for you this game.
I already have a lot of poison. I probably don't need 7.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, 10.
10.
There's 10 poison shots here.
I mean... It depends on what you're going into. I think that's definitely a good change as a more generalist option. But if you're going like a heavy stealth skew with Annyssa, and like because Annyssa and Craelix are a second unit of Raptors.
Yeah.
In terms of their output, because Annyssa gets 2 shots, Craelix gets 3, and they can all be poisoned. And in fact, Anyssa's are better because they have Prey, and Craelix's are better because they have Blessed. So really, there's a lot of output there. The only thing they're really missing is being 5 charging cavalry weapon masters, which is big.
Yeah.
But being 5 weapon master guns
is fine too.
Is also fine, especially when Craelix is free.
Yeah. So this is a listing we'll be playing with a bit more. Maybe I'll try some other permutations of it, see how it goes out. But yeah, thank you for the game, Evan.
Thank you for coming on, Craig. And thank you guys for watching. A couple of things. Next week, our video might be a little bit late as I am moving. So I may or may not have internet yet in my home. So if the video's a little bit late, that would be why. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. If you don't support us on Patreon, no worries. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. And we will see you guys next Monday.